Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Join me every week. I release new episodes every Tuesday. Hello. Welcome to episode 75. My name is Stephanie. I am the Medium in the Middle. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you are a new listener, welcome. I release new episodes every Tuesday. If you haven't already, please press subscribe. And if you are an iTunes user, I would love and appreciate a rating and a review. It really helps me out in the podcast world, and I very much appreciate your time to write the review. In today's episode, we are talking about the group reading that I did with a medium named Bri over Zoom in her monthly membership, A Place for Woo. It was so much fun. I can't wait to share with you guys a mediumship story. It's been a few weeks since we've had one of these, but before we get into it, I do have a few announcements. You guys have been waiting for it. There are more Reiki courses launched today. Registration is now open. The link is in the show notes. If you have been waiting for a course, Reiki Level 1 is May 8th and 9th. Reiki Level 2 is May 29th and 30th. Those courses are now live. You can register with the link down below or off of my website, themediuminthemiddle.com. And in other exciting news, next week is the March meeting in the middle. So it's on March 25th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we are talking about how to use a pendulum. You guys asked for this workshop. I'm delivering it. I'm so excited for this. So the meeting in the middle is my once a month little teacher's corner, you could call it. So I usually give a lecture on something and teach about a topic, but this month it's going to be more workshop style. We're learning how to use a pendulum. If you want more information, go on my Instagram because I did a whole video about what you need for the workshop. If you don't want to buy a pendulum for the workshop, that's totally fine. You can use a necklace or anything that has something heavy on the end. So go over to my Instagram at Medium in the Middle or Facebook at Medium in the Middle, and there's more information on there. You can register for the meeting in the middle on my website, but the links are all down in the show notes as well. So as always, I'm going to pull a few cards for us, asking the universe, what do we need to know this week? What do we need for guidance? What do we need to be reminded of? And I love when you guys send me messages on Instagram letting me know that these cards resonated with you. There is collective consciousness, right? Like we are going through certain things at the same time. So it's interesting that the people listening to this podcast, the people who are called to kind of be here or listen to it at whenever you listen to it, because sometimes people listen to it weeks after it's released, that's when you need to hear the message. So I'm very surprised to say that I wanted to pull two cards today, and I wanted to pull just a card that has the statement on it. So I was looking at my decks being like, which ones should I use? And the first one that I was called to use was the Oracle of E. So this is a deck that I got gifted, and when I first got it, I'm going to be fully honest, I hated it. I did an Instagram live of an unboxing, and I was like, what are these cards? What is E? I don't get it. But today I was called to pick up the deck and use them. So this is my first time using this deck. And this is the first time I've even looked at the cards since I did that unboxing. I think it was a few months ago now. So the card I pulled is card 24. I got your back. You can spit in the face of fear, flip off those who bar the door, shake your fist to any who dare say no. Because you, sweet thing, are divinely protected by the Dude Most High. Always and forever, amen. I mean, I don't get it. I kind of liked that it said I got your back, but is this supposed to be like a casual deck? The Dude Most High? Is that the universe? Okay, I'm going to replace this and just let you guys know that the universe got your back. And I know I say that all the time because I totally love that saying, but the universe does got your back. So if you needed a reminder of that, we're going to ignore this Oracle of E and tell you that information. So let's hope the second card is better, but I don't know what we're going to get. So the second card is from a deck that I actually like, the Wild Offering Oracle card deck. And this one's really pretty. It has really nice illustrations, and the cards have a word and a description. So that was the vibe that I wanted. So hopefully we get it with this card. So I pulled card Doubt. Offering all to the divine doesn't mean negativity never arises. But you can say, free me from this prison of doubt. I cast this burden to you. Show me your will and restore me to faith and confidence. Okay, I like that. And I think, the two goes together. If we just use card 24 as the universe got your back, and then doubt, releasing doubt, being confident, I think this is a good message this week. I mean, we got there in a roundabout way, but that's the message. So hopefully that helps you out. So I'll try to give that Oracle of E card deck another try in the future. But this is why I like my tried and trues. This is why I like my trusty enchanted map deck. I know we're going to get some good info. And I mean, we still got a message here today, but was it the way we wanted delivered? I don't know. So moving right into the episode, I'm excited to share this story with you today, and I actually have a few clips from the recording that I'm going to add in as well. But for those of you who don't know a medium named Bri, what rock have you been living under? She is an incredibly talented medium that lives in Ontario. Her name on Instagram and her website is a medium named Bri. I also did an interview with her a few episodes ago. If you want to listen to that, go back and listen to episode 72, where she came on the podcast and we had a chat. After that chat, she asked me to guest in her A Place for Woo membership, and I was like, yeah, of course. And she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, obviously we're two mediums, we have to do a group reading. It would be wrong not to. So we planned that I would attend A Place for Woo and I would do a group reading with me and Bri for the group of people on Zoom. And I had never done this before, and she had never done this before, so we were both ready to just experiment on these women. So just to start off the story, I'm literally going to share our opening clip, which I find is hilarious and so totally us. So here is the opening of the circle.
So I'll just run you through my spiel really quick, just so you know what to expect from me, because we're going to tag team it. We're going to kind of do this together.
Yeah, I've never done that either. We're really experimenting on you guys today.
Yeah, totally. It's I've done it once with another medium, and it is cool because you can kind of take turns, or like you connect to the same person. And
I want to try that. That's like my intention was like, guys, let's like piggyback and be like, because I feel like you're really good at like specific details, and I'm very good at like general and names and like who, what, when, where, why. That's always what I want to know.
All right, you cast the big net and I'll reel in the fish.
Yeah.
What a weird analogy for me. Anyway.
Talking to a fisherman, then I'll write that down.
Yeah. It's also Pisces season, right? Still Pisces.
True. You have a way better speech than I do. I'm just like, okay, we're starting. The only thing I can say in my past experience with group, when things stop making sense for you, it usually means we're on a new person. Yeah. So that's the only way that I know I'm changing. I try to ask Spirit to like line up in a line, but it's kind of like they circle me first. So I'm like, okay, who's here? And then I have to place the information. So when things are like, no, then we're just, tell us it's a no, tell me it's a no, so that I'm like, okay, then I know that these two pieces of information are for someone new. And usually I'll start burping. So that's why it's like an easy sign. I'm like, okay, we're done here. And now I have two new pieces of information. So yeah, yeses and nos is all I really need. I like to be told things afterwards. Don't give me any pieces of information. I like going in blind. That's why I like strangers. I'm like, I know nothing about you. This is perfect.
Yes. Well, we have a group of strangers to you. They're all very familiar with each other, which is so great.
So to set the scene for you, it is a medium named Bri and I, and about 19 people were on this Zoom call. And it was really interesting where we started off the call with our little speeches each, and full transparency and disclosure, Bri and I didn't have a discussion past, hey, you want to come for A Place for Woo? Yeah, what do you want to do? A group reading. Okay, it's this date. okay, see you then. So we didn't talk about anything, we didn't plan anything, but I knew that we would go with the flow and it would all work out. So we're on this Zoom call, we have this opening, and now I want to share the clip of the first spirit that came through. So I've talked about this in past episodes where sometimes I'll get information prior to the event and spirit will kind of leak me some information being like, "Hey, I'm going to be there. Here's some information for you to start with." And I like that because it makes me feel really confident. And I'm like, yeah, like I have this person to start with. And the last time I did a group reading, they didn't do that. They were like, like we're going to show up when you literally say 3, 2, 1, go. So this time I was stoked that we were reverting back to the old way of them giving me information. Little did I know this was about to happen.
Okay, Steph, you ready?
Yeah, I'm like, can I go first?
Yes, you go first. Like I said, I've read a lot of them.
Yeah.
So.
This is either for Leanne or someone in this corner, and I don't know if we all have the same corner, but I'm hearing Tim, Tom, or Teddy. Like the T name is very strong. It's a male, and I don't think it's family because it feels like it's, I don't know if it is family, it's on your dad's side, but I'm just feeling like really strong male connection, and my throat is going nuts. So I feel like he would have either passed from the throat or he wouldn't be able to have spoken before he passed away. But this is like squeezing tight, and the T name is really strong. Anyone? Male? It would have been your friend or your dad's dad. That's like the only thing that I'm getting, and the throat is really like. I want to see what else I wrote down. Okay. Tim Tom is the name, and I feel like Teddy is like either a memory or something that you have, or like the word Teddy applies to a memory with this person. Mm-hmm. No one? Is this guy just with me? Can we swear here?
So crickets was essentially what I got with that information. And it was funny because that Tom Teddy name came through as soon as she sent me the Zoom link for the meeting, which was a few days before. I was like, aha, I have this information that I can start with. And it landed with nobody at that time. The name did end up coming around later on and it made sense, but it was really interesting that I was so confident in that and then nothing. The way that this started out was I did that, and then Bri had someone, and again, no one claimed it. So we were both sitting there like, okay, well, no one's claiming these people. So I was like, you know what's a better idea? How about I look at someone and try to get their energy from that way to be like, who wants to talk to this person that I'm staring at? And it was interesting because I've never done a Zoom mediumship reading before. So I decided to change my course and stare at someone until someone of their loved ones come through. So I could be like, hey, you, Mary, do you have this and this person? And then we started to flow from there. So from there, we got into a flow, and Bri kind of sat back and let me do my thing. And then when I was drawing blanks, I called on her. And because she had read for a lot of the group before, she was really trying to keep back. But for me, it was a bunch of strangers, and I love that because when you have no history and know nothing about someone, it makes it so much easier to read them. So the next clip that I want to share is the next spirit that was coming through.
Bri, you started talking and my eyes really started burning. And I don't know if that's because you were saying oil of oregano or if now we have someone with the eyes.
It's just
no,
me.
But my throat. Who did someone have someone? It's a male, and he passed of the throat, and like it's either squeezing, like he couldn't speak at the end. I don't know if it was cancer in this area, but there's like something here is very like important to his passing. And I'm like 68. I don't know if he was 68, and I feel like he had three boys as his kids.
So just to protect everyone who was in attendance, I'm not including anyone else's voice but mine and Bri's, which is why I'm putting these clips in and out. But it was really interesting because the T and Tom name kept coming up very strongly, and the throat reference. You'll see me bring it up. And this is interesting when I get a piece of information where I know that what I'm getting is true, but no one was laying claims to it. So I was like, I need to place this information. Like, why is no one claiming it as their own? It ended up being a spirit that had one of those voice boxes, I think it is, where you have to touch the machine to the voice box in order for them to talk. So we ended up finding out who it was. But the T name was very interesting. So I want to tell this story. So there was someone there who was listening at work, and she, I guess, had her volume on, but her camera was off. And this person who was at work had, I guess, 4 or 5 people in the room with her. So there ended up being a few spirits that came through for those people in her workroom with her. So a few times she popped on and she said, well, I'm actually in the room with someone and everything you're saying is making sense for them. And what really kind of hit me for this was that I got that information before I was even with the group. So it's just a cool experience of how spirit is so intelligent that they knew that she would be on at work and those people would be in the same room as her listening in, and that they had a message to go to one of those people. So it was just really cool where we were like, oh my gosh, what are the odds that this would happen? And it was a message for someone who wasn't even scheduled to be here tonight. So that was really cool. That one really got me because I was like, that is cool. There's still these moments when working with spirit where it's like, wow, gosh, you guys are smart. So there came a point when we were going through and kind of banging out spirits and going through the group, and then we got into a flow. So after kind of that rocky start, we got into a flow, and when information stopped making sense for one person, it started to make sense for someone else. But there was a point where Bri would say a few things, and I was like, oh, Bri, I think that's for me. And then I would say a few things, and Bri's like, oh, Steph, that's for me. And it was really interesting because we ended up reading each other a little bit, which is funny because normally we wouldn't be the ones getting read, but because we were just opening up for whoever wants to come through can come through. So Bri's grandpa came through, my grandma came to say hello, and it was funny because I want to insert this clip because it really made me laugh.
But anybody else, because it'll be mine.
Welcome to our new show where two mediums read each other.
We just sit here and do each other.
So there's a few key highlights from the reading that I wanted to just mention. I was on a roll in regards to names. I was spot on for a few names. I was really impressed. There was also 2 women named Rose, and we were able to distinguish that it was 2 different people. I thought that was really cool. I drew these 3 flowers that were making me seem really significant, and that ended up being someone's tattoo. So there was just a lot of really cool experiences packed into, I think it was about an hour and a half, the entire reading. Not everyone got a reading, but I think we read for about 10, 13 people maybe. And a few people had multiple souls come through. At one point, we were making a joke. The one girl had her grandma and grandpa and other grandpa and auntie and all these people. We were like, hey, your family's hogging the show. But it was just really interesting because the group knew each other and they were so welcoming and so wonderful. It was such a fun time. It was also my first ever Zoom mediumship reading, so that was interesting. I wasn't nervous going into it, I think, because I'm used to doing distance Reiki, and if spirit is going to show up, they still show up in distance Reiki. So I thought to myself, oh, with 20 people on Zoom, that's just, more people's energy to read. So at first it was a little rocky to get into the groove. I was like, uh-oh, are I going to be shooting blanks all night and no one's going to resonate with this? But then once we got into the groove, once we were opened up to spirit, it was really fun and the ball started rolling. At the end, I think I finished with someone's dog and I was just tapped out. I had enough. I was like, Bri, I'm not getting anything more. I was getting information. There was one last spirit trying to come through, but it was so jumbly and it wasn't clear and he wasn't telling me enough information to pinpoint who he was. Half of it was making sense for one woman, but the other half wasn't. And I was like, you know what? I'm tapped out. My energy is wiped. And I said, he's not being clear. I don't want to deliver some mix mosh message for you. So we decided to call it quits. But it was really fun, and I was nervous for it because, of course, trying something new, you're always nervous. But it was a really great experience. And you always want to have a safe and welcoming environment when you are taking these risks. And just knowing that her group was so warm and so inviting really made the biggest difference. Opening up their loved ones and their life and just watching us, experience something new as well. So thank you if you were one of those people in the group. You were wonderful. And I just had a lot of fun. I was vibing high after that, and I thought I was going to be wrecked. I was definitely tired energy-wise, but I was also feeling so good. And I do want to share the sheet of paper that I wrote on. So I thought with group, I like to have a paper and a pen beside me because messages can come through all over. Something that's said now can make sense later on. So it's just really interesting to keep track of who's saying what's coming through, and then figuring out where to place it. We explain it kind of like broken telephone or charades, and you're at a party, so you're trying to figure out who's saying what's for who, where we place and where. So I'm going to share the sheet of paper that I wrote on Instagram if you want to see it. It's similar to the one that I did last time, where it's a bunch of scribbles and mess, but it's really interesting to kind of read it and see it afterwards to see how things line up, what information was able to be placed and what information was not. So there was definitely some information that was not able to be placed. I got the word Hendrix very strongly, which I've never gotten before, and I wasn't sure if that was a name, if that was a place, a thing, if that was in reference to a guitar. So that was one thing that wasn't able to be placed. There's definitely a few others. Not every piece of information is going to land with someone. And it's really interesting that with so many people, people could say, oh, it's going to be general. Everyone could say yes. But because the information is specific, not everybody has a Tim or a Tom or a Teddy that they can say yes to. So it's interesting to see how the information fits, how it flows, and how one soul led into the other. It was a really, really fun experience, and I was really glad that I had access to that. So thank you to Bri, and thank you to everyone in A Place for Woo. That was a great experience. So that is the story that I wanted to share with you this week. I'm very excited to have a mediumship story to share. That spirit has been pretty quiet, so I didn't know how this was going to go. But of course, I always trusted that they would show up and deliver. So thank you for listening to this episode. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I will pop up in your library every Tuesday when I release new episodes. If you want to book an appointment with me, I do offer distance Reiki, Psych K, and Akashic Records all online. And if you are in the Banff area, come see me in person for in-person Reiki or Psych K. All the links will be linked in the show notes, themediuminthemiddle.com for everything Medium in the Middle. And I hope you all have a great week, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.